And what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Historic Hot Laps. We're going to do some race recaps, cover some news, and a little history segment at the end, so stick around for that. Let's kick it off with some race recaps. We're going to talk about NASCAR at Richmond this last weekend. We had the Truck Series starting out, short track, big drama, and the playoff field finally set. We will cover the race first and foremost. Who made the cut? I'll give you my playoff predictions heading into Darlington as well. Let's start off with a Richmond recap. Corey Heim stole the spotlight, winning the 250-mile race for his 7th win of 2025. That ties his career best and makes him the youngest driver ever with 18 career Truck Series wins, taking that record from Kyle Busch, who we know is an animal in the Truck Series. Ty Majeski absolutely owned the first half, winning both stages and leading 143 laps. But contact with teammate Matt Crafton cost him the lead. Heim swooped in with 20 to go, holding off Majeski at the line by less than a second. Top 5 are as follows: Heim, Majeski, Riggs, Sammy Smith, and Corey LaJoie actually rounding out the top 5, making a Truck Series showing. So awesome to see that there. Richmond short track chaos at its finest. Had some domination, some teammate drama, a clutch finish. So this takes us to the playoff picture of who's in. After Richmond, the 10-driver playoff field is officially locked in. You have Corey Heim, obviously 7 wins, regular season champ, top seed going into the playoffs. Lane Riggs, 2 wins, red-hot rookie momentum there. Chandler Smith with 2 wins, a solid contender. Daniel Hemrick with 1 win, consistent all year long, always in the top of the class there. Tyler Ankrum, he's got 1 win, sneaky strong on the intermediate tracks, so look for him there. Rajah Caruth, 1 win, another good intermediate track guy. Big breakthrough this season as well. Ty Majeski, winless, but has a ton of speed. Stage points keep him strong. He's good enough to make it through the first round, I'm sure, if not all the way. Maybe he'll catch some strides and some momentum. Grant Enfinger, veteran presence in the field, knows how to survive the rounds. Caden Honeycutt's still in, first playoff run, real underdog story there. And Jake Garcia, who grabbed the final playoff spot by just 19 points over Ben Rhodes. And that's your lineup. 10 drivers, 3 rounds coming up, 1 championship on the line. So let's talk about our predictions. Who goes deep? Who's going to fall early? Let's have some fun with this. Here's how I see the playoffs playing out. Early exits in the round of 10. Caden Honeycutt, awesome story, but I think the playoff pressure and the track experience is going to catch up to him. He's switching teams, all that kind of stuff. I just don't see him making it past the first round. Jake Garcia, again, the lowest seed usually doesn't make it all the way through, but this is just predictions, right? I hope the best for all these guys. He barely squeaked in. He's tough out there, but the margin of error is pretty well gone now. And the final one going out in first round for me would be Daniel Hemrick. He is sneaky good, but I think he gets caught up in a bad break early on. Final 7 contenders would be Grant Enfinger, Ty Majeski, Tyler Ankrum, Rajah Caruth, Chandler Smith, Lane Riggs, Corey Heim. Prediction for Championship 4, I'm saying Corey Heim, since he's the heavy favorite, plain and simple, right? Ty Majeski, he avoids bad luck. He's always going to be a factor there. Lane Riggs, he's having a great year. I don't see him stopping now. I think he'll make that Championship 4. Rajah Caruth, he's my wild card pick. But I feel like the momentum's right. He's got the Hendrick cars behind him. He's usually pretty fast. You've got some intermediates coming up. I feel like he's got the chance to make the Final 4. But overall, championship prediction, going with the easy shot here. Corey Heim, he's already got 7 wins on the season. He's calm under pressure. His short track skill's amazing. His playoff schedule is going to be great for him. Unless something real wild happens, this is definitely his championship to lose. So Richmond gave us what we wanted, dramatic finish and a tight playoff picture. Heim looks unstoppable. Majeski's got some speed. Guys like Riggs and Caruth totally shake things up. We're going to head to Darlington on August 30th to kick off the round of 10. If Richmond was any clue of how this playoff is going to go, it's about to get real spicy for y'all. So stay tuned for more on that. This jumps us over to the Cup Series. Xfinity was off this week, so we just have Truck Series and Cup Series to worry about right now. Cup Series showdown at Richmond Raceway. Again, some playoff drama, surprise winner, so let's dive into it. What went down at Richmond? Well, Austin Dillon snagged the win at the Cookout 400, defending his Richmond title from last year, as controversial as that might have been, making him the first repeat winner here since 2010. He led 107 laps, including the last 49 laps, pulled off a clean and emotional victory. Highlight the word clean, especially impressive considering, everything that team had going on last year and and everything that goes into that with the drama that unfolded when he did the old right hook, tried to force his way into the playoffs, and we all know how that shook out. So, yeah, emotional victory. Bowman wrapped up a strong night in second place while Ryan Blaney grabbed third. Joey Logano, Austin Cindric rounded out the top five. The race was not without chaos, though. Per usual, there was a massive 16-car pileup in Stage 2, taking out Denny Hamlin. Chase Elliott, Bubba Wallace led the most laps overall, and he took the win in Stage 2, but had a huge tire issue that stalled his run. It was quite the race for the pit crew issues, especially on all those Toyota teams. They just couldn't catch a break. So let's talk about the playoff picture and the points after that. With Austin Dillon's win, that punches his ticket into the 16-driver playoff, vaulting him from 28th in the standings straight into the cut line. Obviously locked in with a win. William Byron locked up the 2025 regular season championship with a 12th place finish, earning a sweet 15 bonus points heading into the playoffs. Alex Bowman, now second at Richmond, bumped into the final playoff spot, gaining enough to push himself above the cutoff line. Playoff bubble to watch would be Bowman in, Tyler Reddick also sitting comfortably, but Buescher is on the outside looking in just below the cut line. We saw Ryan Preece grab the pole on this one, also adding to his playoff hopes, but he never turned it into a real highlighted finish there. Reddick had Stage 1, Wallace had Stage 2 before the tire stuff ended his night. Talked about the 16-car pileup. Just really jacked things up, right? So Dillon's got the redemption night. Controversy last year is kind of the win that he felt he earned this time. Clean, clutch, emotional, and all that. Playoff stakes are amplified. Remember back in the day when a win meant all or nothing push? Well, this was it, right? Dillon wasn't even in the picture until that final lap. Bubble drama heated up with Bowman sneaking in, Buescher on the outside. Regular season wraps up in 1 week in Daytona. It's anyone's guess how the last few spots will go. So really, going into Daytona, we got to talk about the playoff tension, the battle. Who's your pick? Do you think Buescher gets in? Do you think Bowman stays? I mean, what's going to happen, right? Are we going to see a new winner? It's Daytona. Literally anything can happen. All right, let's jump over to the Dirt World. World of Outlaws, Friday night at Olive Raceway. Carson Macedo kicked off things with a clutch win, fighting off Hungry Bill Balog in traffic. Macedo's car was hooked up. He really showed why he's one of the best at closing the deal. You had Macedo, Balog, Buddy Kofoid came in third, James McFadden fourth, and Logan Schuchart came in fifth. Balog nearly pulled off the upset, but Macedo kept his cool. Schuchart clawing into the top five set his tone for his Saturday run. So let's jump over to Saturday night at Jackson Motorplex. Macedo doubled down flag-to-flag dominance at Jackson for his sixth win ever at the track, making him the winningest Outlaw driver there. He straight up owned that quarter-mile dirt track. You also had Logan Schuchart coming in second, Bill Balog coming in third, Buddy Kofoid in fourth, and David Gravel made an appearance in the top five there in fifth place. This was Schuchart's best run in months, second place showing some life, and Balog back-to-back podiums. He's looking more dangerous every week. Gravel snuck into the top five, like we said, keeping his title hopes alive.
Philip D's got to go be figured out. I feel like we're just really good here. I can pretty much go anywhere and make a lot of speed. I was surprised with Bill, I don't know. I got by him on the bottom. I felt really confident in what I was doing. And then in 3 and 4 there, I really didn't know where to be. And then I soon figured out that he was getting runs off the top of 3 and 4. And that's what kind of talked me into going to the top. After I got back by him, I just thought, obviously the momentum's pretty good. And my car was extremely good. And I think it was one of the only reasons I could run down there as good as I could. But then, when I got to the lead, I could see every lap on the big screen that Buddy was running the bottom in 1 and 2 and was fairly close to me, doing a good job. And then he tried to slide me in 3 and 4, and I knew I had to really get going and be smart in lap traffic. So they were pretty good too. I feel like towards the end there, first 3 quarters of the race, I was extremely good. And then I'd say the last quarter, I was a little unsure where to be and just didn't want to go away from the momentum and then have it bite me again like it did the first time after I got by Bill. So, well, I think track position is huge here at Jackson. I think that, the way the track was, I felt like the bottom was going to give up fairly fast and then the top was going to take over. And I feel like that's exactly what happened. I didn't really think I was going to get the start, to be honest. I felt like, I actually maybe got to the throttle a little bit after him, but it was crazy. I felt like my engine took off really good. I feel like the 83 took off a lot better than I did in the heat race. His engine took a lot better, and I think we made some adjustments to try to get our stuff to take off a lot better, and it just paid off there. I think once you get to the lead, you can really make good pace. I know Bill was close to me. I could hear him, and then I saw him that one time. But, once I got to the lappers, I'd stall out and go about the same speed as them. And I felt like the more I'd move up and try to get my right sides in the grip to get more speed, I just would spin more and get pulled into it. So I just started running a little lower and kept my right sides in the grip and tried not to make any mistakes.
So let's zoom out to the big picture of the championship battle. Where do we see the point standings after Minnesota? Well, David Gravel is still your points leader, but the margin is getting tight. He's been steady stacking top fives, but Macedo's weekend cut into that cushion quite a bit. Minnesota sweep from Macedo puts him firmly back in striking distance. 9 wins this season already. If he keeps firing like this, Gravel's got company for sure. Logan Schuchart, that runner-up finish was exactly what he needed. He's not out of it, but he needs more weekends like Jackson to really climb into the fight. Giovanni Chelsea and James McFadden both hanging inside the top 5 in points, consistent but needing a win or two to really turn up the heat for them. It's basically a 2-horse race right now between Gravel and Macedo, but Schuchart's showing signs of life. With Outlaws, all this takes a wild weekend to shuffle the deck, right? So here's where we're going next. Tuesday, which would be tomorrow when we put this episode out, Mississippi Thunder Speedway in Wisconsin. Friday, they're at River Cities in North Dakota. Valley in North Dakota on Saturday. Gravel's usually pretty strong up there in the North Dakota tracks, but going into Macedo back-to-back wins might keep all this rolling. And yeah, we'll just see what happens come this northern weekend we got coming up ahead of us. So let's jump into USAC Silver Crown. Last weekend, Silver Crown Showdown at Springfield, Illinois State Fairgrounds. Bettenhausen 100 weekend. Classic venue, big-name drivers, championship implications. Let's roll into how it went down. Who finished up front? How are the points stacking now? Top 5 results. Cody Swanson grabbed the win, leading late and closing with a 1.374 second gap over Matt Westphal. Solid performance from Swanson. Another headline-worthy win for him. Matt Westphal ran second, his 5th career runner-up in the Silver Crown car, just shy of that long-coveted first win. He's getting closer and closer every time. Mario Klauser came home 3rd, putting in a strong, consistent drive. Justin Grant comes in 4th. He had that broken left foot, fought right through it to finish 4th, and that's pretty good grit for the 100-mile for the Bettenhausen 100 weekend. CJ Leary rounded out the top 5 with a solid run in 5th place there. Bonus highlights, Brian Tyler started 20th, ripped through the field, and finished 6th, earning the Hard Charger Award for the day. That's pretty impressive to gain 20 positions overall, especially as competitive as Silver Crown is these days. So, we talked about all the other title hunts. Let's talk about the USAC Silver Crown title. Currently, Justin Grant still got a pretty good lead over CJ Leary. Matt Westphal's in 3rd. Cody Swanson's in 4th. Kyle Stevens in 5th, about 70 points shy of Swanson. So really, as we're getting close to this, Justin Grant's kind of got it locked up. It's his to lose at this point. But Leary, Westphal, and especially Swanson are right in the mix after this one. Swanson's momentum is pretty serious. This one didn't just add to his tally. It slammed the door on the points battle, keeping him up front and center. Westphal close once again, consistent, peaking at the stage. Can he crack a victory soon? We'll see. Grant driving with a broken foot, still holding the points lead, tough as nails. He's shown he's ready to wrestle the championship no matter what physical toll it takes on him. We've got DuQuoin State Fairgrounds on the 30th for the Ted Horn 100. 1-mile dirt oval, super awesome weekend, so can't wait to see that one. And this could be a big swing in the points battle. We still got Justin Grant with an injured foot. Everything else, we know that when they're on the dirt, it's going to take a little more to get it done. So we'll see what happens with all of that.
I'm not crying yet, Drake. I'm just out of breath still. And it's hot. And I'm so appreciative, to answer your question. You never know which one may be your last, right? So they're all extremely special, and this one certainly is. And to be the first for the Hackenbottom 24 is really, really something. These guys are a great group, and have been part of this series for a while, and doing what they can to support it all the way from Philadelphia, right? They make the tow, and I'm so happy to get them a win here today.
Let's finish this off with some Kubota high limit sprints. Haven't talked about them much lately, but we're back in it now. Kicking off the West Coast swing, and the last weekend was full of big moves and tight finishes. Let's break down some of the wins, podiums, all that stuff with the high limit series. So, Thunderbolt at Tulare, California. Corey Day claimed victory at Thunderbolt Raceway, hitting win number 10 in the series. He's getting into the elites at this point. He's racking up a serious win with a total only behind Rico Abreu and Brad Sweet. Then we were in Placerville Speedway, 49er Gold Rush Classic. Justin Sanders came out top on that nail biter, beating Caleb Montgomery by 0.104 seconds. And Corey Eilison came in third on that one. So where does this put the championship standings? We're talking championships left and right. So we're going to keep going here. Latest on the points battle heading into the stretch, Brad Sweet leads with 1,700 points. Rico Abreu is 71 points behind him. Brent Marks holds third, 120 points down from Sweet. Tyler Courtney, who's still battling that huge injury, is still holding fourth place for now, but obviously we know he's out until next season at minus 142 there. And Aaron Rutzel rounds out the top five. He's down 155. He'll obviously make up some ground there. Brad Sweet, despite his fourth place finish at Placerville, he still leads the championship, but he's got a lot of people on his tail there. So the tour goes to the Silver Dollar Speedway this Thursday for the Gold Cup Race of Champions, and expected to be a big payout weekend for that. They're all breathing down the neck for the championship, Brad Sweet, so we'll see what happens at Silver Dollar Speedway. But who's got what it takes, We know it's going to be a shakeup. Time for a little bit of news. We did have quite a few bigger stories this week, so let's jump right into that. This has all been all over the internet and everything else, but came out after we posted last week's episode. But we're going to dive into a big shakeup in the world of Outlaws. Donnie Schatz is out at Tony Stewart Racing after nearly 18 years. And the twist, he's now got a temporary gig with Big Game Motorsports. So here's what went down at TSR and how they're going to handle it from here on out. Was August 12th, like I said, just this time last week, Tony Stewart Racing announced Donnie Schatz's release, ending one of the most legendary driver-owner relationships in sprint car history. 18 years together, 8 World of Outlaws championships, and 9 Knoxville Nationals. Stewart said both he and Schatz had become frustrated. Schatz was miserable driving the car and the team couldn't dial things in. It just wasn't healthy anymore. He believes making the move now gives them both a reset heading into 2026. Schatz's final race with TSR was at the next Knoxville Nationals, where he finished 11th after fighting back from the B main. His last hurrah with the team over there. Tony Stewart has tapped Kerry Madsen, who previously raced for TSR in 2021, as a replacement for the number 15 car for the rest of the season, except one of the North Dakota weekends where a temporary driver will be named later. Madsen's first outing came at Olivey Raceway. So what's Schatz doing now? Well, he's got that new ride with Big Game Motorsports. Less than 24 hours after leaving TSR, Schatz landed a temporary deal with Big Game Motorsports, joining David Gravel as a teammate for the next 7 World of Outlaws events. He'll drive the number 15, his signature there, so they worked that out at least, which is good. Followed by more racing ahead with the stops in North Dakota and the River Cities. His stint wraps up at Huset Speedway for the LG Everest Shootout on August 30th. So basically, he's just going to be with them for this month. This move keeps his unbroken streak of competing in over 1,600 consecutive World of Outlaw races, which is awesome. It's a great opportunity, he said. Said he's grateful, especially having old ties with Big Game owner Todd Keurig, who's been a longtime friend of his. In Schatz's own words, in an interview, he expressed disappointment at how things ended with TSR, feeling blindsided and upset by the timing and the lack of communication. That said, he's not sitting idle. He'll take advantage of the big game opportunity and line up options for the rest of the year, staying focused on finishing what he started with his season this year in the World of Outlaws. So let's keep it real here. This is a bittersweet moment. Schatz and Tony Stewart Racing, an icon pairing, right? It's over. It's emotional. But Tony framed it in a mutual reset, and Donnie's already jumping into the next chapter instead of dwelling on what had happened. Kerry Madsen steps in to close out the season strong. Team's aiming to maintain momentum while planning for 2026. Schatz's side, he's proven his resilience. He locked in that big game ride almost immediately. Next 7 races are a major audition for what's next, whether it be short-term deals or something longer. He's definitely going to line up his next move. So here's the bottom line. Donnie Schatz and TSR parted ways. It is what it is. Big Game stepped in. We've got to figure out where he's going to be for long-term. Is Madsen going to run for TSR long-term? It's hard to say whether it's TSR resetting and Schatz carving out a new path. Both sides are doing what they need to do to stay competitive heading into next year. And this is going to be far from over. So we'll keep our eyes out for what's next of this whole ordeal. Big news coming out of NASCAR headquarters. Starting January 1st, 2026, the NASCAR Xfinity Series will be rebranded as the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Its official landmark sponsorship move in the sport's second-tier series. This isn't just a sponsorship swap, it marks a pivotal shift in NASCAR's branding strategy and delivers a major win for O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts will assume the title sponsorship beginning in 2026, replacing Comcast's Xfinity brand, which has held the naming rights since 2015. The series will officially be called the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series starting January 1st, with its first race likely the Daytona event on February 14th. NASCAR President Steve O'Donnell highlighted the shared American roots and passion between NASCAR and O'Reilly. O'Reilly is no stranger to the NASCAR events. They've sponsored individual races and supported the sport through radio and track level engagements in recent years. Neither NASCAR nor O'Reilly have publicly disclosed the financial terms of this deal. However, inside sources reveal that NASCAR was aiming for around $10 million annually in its rights fees, plus a mid-seven-figure commitment to activation, totaling around $15 million a year. This deal is described as multi-year, but medium-term through NASCAR leadership. As they indicated, they often enter partnerships with longevity in mind. As of 2025, the series is enjoying a 17% year-over-year viewership increase, pacing to be the most watched season since 2018, which is pretty awesome. The series averages 1.1 million total viewers per race, 19 of 23 races drawing over 1 million exclusively on the CW network. So they'll continue doing that through the O'Reilly sponsorship era. So congrats to everyone on that. Good to see that we're not going to see any kind of hurdle coming forward from the sponsorship side of things there. Let's talk some Truck Series stuff real quick. This one kind of hits a little harder. Here's a heartfelt update from the Craftsman Truck Series. We're going to honor one of the sport's most enduring figures, Mr. Matt Crafton. After an incredible 25-season run, NASCAR and ThorSport Racing have confirmed that Crafton will retire from full-time competition following the 2025 season. It's the close of a legendary chapter for the Truck Series. Career-defined consistency. In perspective, at age 49, Crafton ends his career having started 585 Truck Series races, a record unmatched in their third-tier division over there at NASCAR. He claimed 3 championships, 2013, 2014, and 2019, including becoming the only driver to win back-to-back titles in the Truck Series in history. His career stats are staggering: 15 wins, 135 top 5 finishes, 331 top 10s from 2007 to 2023. He never placed outside the top 10 in season standings. One of the most iconic aspects of Crafton's career in his 23-year partnership with Menards, making it the longest-running driver-primary sponsor relationship in NASCAR. He's been the face of ThorSport Racing's number 88 truck nearly the entire time, except for a one-year stint in 2004 with Kevin Harvick Incorporated. He then returned to ThorSport in 2005 and never looked back. ThorSport Racing also announced that Ty Majeski, the 2024 Truck Series champion, will take over the number 88 truck full-time in 2026. It's a symbolic torch pass, a new chapter built on Crafton's 25-year streak, racing nearly every season without missing a beat. Crafton wasn't just a driver. He was a guardian of consistency, loyalty, and professionalism. This farewell isn't just about what he did on track. It's about how he did it. Bidding adieu to one of the most dependable figures in Truck Series history, somebody I watched my entire life of being involved in motorsports, basically. Man, welcome the next era under Majeski, but bittersweet moment to see Crafton hang up the helmet on this one. Right, a little bit of IndyCar news real quick. The latest World of IndyCar just dropped today. 2026 lineup of Marcus Armstrong will be back behind the wheel for Meyer-Shank Racing, piloting the number 66 Honda next season. From both Speed Sport and Associated Press, they announced Armstrong, who switched over to MSR in 2025, will continue with the team in 2026. This isn't just a routine extension, it's a clear sign of momentum and mutual confidence. Having begun the year with Chip Ganassi Racing, Armstrong joined Meyer-Shank Racing this season and has been a revelation. He's notched 10 top 10 finishes, including a standout podium at Iowa, just second of his IndyCar career. Current standings show him in 9th in the championship with 2 races left. It will be the first time he breaks into the top 10 in full season points in his IndyCar career, which isn't saying much because it has been a a shorter stint so far, but he's got a lot left in him. Armstrong had this to say about it: "I'm very pleased and grateful to be back with Meyershank Racing and my crew for 2026. The professionalism and attention to detail is a benchmark throughout the field. We have certainly improved with time together. From the team side, MSR co-owner Mike Shank added, we're thrilled to have Marcus back in 2026. He's really grown a lot this season. He has all the tools to fight to the front. We're excited to continue building on this progress together." So congrats to him on that. Pretty excited to see what's going to happen with that team moving forward. Do we see Rosenquist still take that number 60 car? I believe he's in a multi-year deal, so I think he's still locked in for next year, but maybe not the year after when the new car comes out. I can't remember. We'll get to the end of the season. We'll talk about all that stuff. So that wraps it up for our news today. So let's jump into our history segment for this one. It's not going to be real long, but it's an important one, like they all are. Buckle up. Today we're talking about one of the most fascinating and criminally underrated figures in motorsports history, and that's Ralph DePalma. If you've never heard of him, that's okay. Most people haven't. He's not the name you see on bumper stickers or t-shirts, but back in the early 1900s, Ralph DePalma was the guy. His story is a wild mix of brilliance, heartbreak, and a whole lot of how on earth did he survive that moment. So picture this, right? Ralph was born in 1882. That's right, 1882, in a little Italian town called Bari. When he's still a teenager, his family packs up and moves to the United States. And this is during the era when cars are still basically science experiments on wheels. Racing, it wasn't just a dangerous thing back then, it was borderline absurd. He started out on bicycles and motorcycles, pretty common for future race car drivers at the time. That's where he got a sense of speed and balance. But by 1908, he's behind the wheel of a race car, and from then on, he's all in. Back then, racing often meant endurance events on public roads, talking hundreds of miles, no guardrails, no safety crews, just open road and pure chaos. You had to be part driver, part mechanic, part thrill seeker, if we're being honest, and questionable in your self-preservation instincts. You hit a tree where you just hope the tree lost the fight and you could keep going. That's the kind of stuff these guys were doing back then, right? By the early 1910s, DePalma is building a reputation not for being fast alone, but for being very consistent. He's smooth, he doesn't trash his cars, he coaxes them into the right positions. In 1912, he wins the Vanderbilt Cup, which at the time was one of the biggest trophies you could get in American racing. That's his big, hey world, look at me moment. But his most famous race that year, that he didn't even win, the 1912 Indianapolis 500. DePalma dominates the race. He leads 196 out of 200 laps. That's almost the whole thing, and then 2 laps from the end, his engine just dies. It's gone. Now, most drivers would pull over, hang their head, call it a day. Not DePalma. He and his riding mechanic, because remember back then, cars had a second guy on board most of the time, literally pushed the car the rest of the way over half a mile in full racing gear. They finished 11th, but the crowd went absolutely crazy. Still one of the most legendary Indy 500 moments more than 100 years later. Fast forward 3 years to 1915, and he finally gets his Indy 500 win driving a Mercedes. Redemption at last. And this time, no pushing required, right? Now here's the wild part. Over his career, DePalma wins more than 2,000 races. Yes, 2,000 races. Sure, a lot of these were smaller events and exhibitions, but still the stats that he's won over 2,000 races, which is totally mind-blowing. The guy was everywhere. Dirt tracks, board tracks, road courses. There was a race, there was a good chance DePalma was in it. And he wasn't just about winning trophies, he was about speed. In the 1920s, he goes to Daytona Beach and sets a land speed record of 149 miles per hour in a Packard on sand in the 1920s with tires that by today's standards are basically made of optimism and nothing else. What made him look so good wasn't just raw talent, it was his style. A lot of early drivers were wild, sliding around corners, pushing their cars to the absolute limit. DePalma, he was very precise. He's the Alex Palou of his day, right? He treated racing like an art form. He knew when to push, when to ease off, and most importantly, how to keep a car alive for full distance. That's why he lasted so long in an era where career longevity usually meant 2 years before something exploded. He finally retires from competitive driving in the late 1930s, but he doesn't just vanish. He stays in the sport as a consultant and a mechanic. When he passes away in 1956, the racing world loses one of its true craftsmen. And here's what sticks with me about it. DePalma raced through one of the most dangerous eras in motorsport. Drivers were killed every year, cars caught fire, parts broke mid-race, and somehow through decades of racing, DePalma avoids any major injury. Call it skill, call it luck, probably a bit of both, but it's part of what made his career so remarkable. So next time you're in the motorsports trivia battle, drop Ralph DePalma's name. He might not have the Hollywood-level fame like an Andretti or a Foyt, but in terms of pure racing skill, discipline, and longevity, he was in a league of his own. That wraps up our deep dive on Ralph DePalma. If you like this trip back in time, stick around every week. We like to do this. We like to profile drivers, talk about their history. Some are known, some are unknown. You never know what you're going to get. There's no rhyme or reason for it. We just throw a dart at the wall, and that's the one we're going to do. As always, please like, share, and subscribe. Let a fellow race fan know what we do over here, and stay safe. Thanks for tuning in.